This is BizHawk, a powerful emulator that supports not only many systems, but also the Lua scripting language, making it the perfect way to inject fun chaos into your streams, regardless of your size. You can set it up so that your game randomly changes every 30 to 60 seconds, let your chat save and load your game, or have raids or follows that trigger the rewind feature, all ideas that I plan on releasing tutorials for. Subscribe if you're interested. However, in the process of scripting my next video, I realized I couldn't find a quick and easy setup tutorial that I was happy to share with you, so I decided to make my own. So with that preamble out of the way, let's get started. The first thing you'll want to do is head to the first link in the description to download and run BizHawk's Prerequisites installer. This just bundles essential runtime libraries that newer BizHawk versions need to avoid errors. So if you skip this, the software will yell at you later. So go ahead and select the latest zip file, extract it, and run the exe file. This should take only a minute. Now with that out of the way, we can download the actual emulator by following the second link in the description and selecting the latest version of BizHawk. Move the zip file to wherever you want and extract it. Now that we have our extracted folder, you'll see the emuhawk.exe file, which is what you'll use to launch the emulator. So let's start by popping that open. Now, as I mentioned before, BizHawk is a multi-system emulator, which means it can emulate many different consoles, from NES to PlayStation to the Sega Saturn. However, these consoles all use different BIOS, which were just different files used to set up the console to run the games. BizHawk also needs that firmware. I can't legally show you where to get these files, and I definitely wouldn't recommend Googling BizHawk complete firmware to find a link to Internet Archive. I would also caution you that it would be wrong to download the firmware 2.3 file that the link brings you to. So, definitely don't follow those not instructions. Now, what I can do is show you where to put those files once you have legally obtained them. At the top of the BizHawk window, we can navigate to Config and Firmware to see all the consoles able to be emulated. Then at the top, we can click the Open Firmware Folder button, and this is where you're going to want to drop your BIOS files. So just as an example, I'll drag this mystery zip file into the firmware folder, extract it, and then drag all the mysterious files from the extracted folder into my firmware folder. Okay, so now BizHawk should be able to run some games, which I also can't legally show you how to acquire. Luckily, Google is also very protective of video game corporations and wouldn't let you search anything like, Castlevania Bloodlines ROM, for example. However, what I like to do for my 100% legally obtained games is create a new folder inside the BizHawk directory called Games, and inside this folder I'll make a folder for every console that I'm going to be emulating. So in this example, I'll make one called Genesis. We'll pop that open, and then drag my Castlevania Bloodlines ROM in there. Then to run the game, we can either go to File, Open ROM, and navigate to our game's Genesis ROM, or we can also just drag the file directly into the window. And there you have it. Now, really quickly, without going too in-depth, we have a few configure options we can check out. Every system uses a different controller, so to configure your controls, you'll need to first launch a game. So then we can go to Config and Controllers to customize them. I'll just, for player 1, you can click into the little window and then press whatever button you want your control to be. If you want to full screen the application, just double-clicking the window should do it. Or you can also use the default Alt-Enter hotkey. And speaking of hotkeys, you can also configure those in config and hotkeys. And there you have it. Now you're all set up for the fun stuff. I plan to use this emulator a lot because of its cool features, such as easy rewind and Lua script compatibility. This video is just the foundation for a series on integrating BizHawk with chat. So my next tutorial, for example, is how to use BizHawk with StreamerBot to let your chat save and load your game, which will add some fun, entertaining chaos to your special stream. If that interests you, subscribe now and I'll see you soon. Have fun streaming. To download and run BizHawk's prerequisites, the first thing you'll want to do is head to the